Welcome to today's video. We're going to be doing hill sprints, or otherwise known as elevated high intensity interval training. In fact, we're going to be doing two variations of hill sprints. Take option number one, lactic threshold training, if you want to improve your aerobic capabilities like pad. So this is really intense training where we go 50 to 85% VO2 max. So that's between 55% to 90% maximum heart rate, depending on your level. Because we know that lactic threshold training is a key predictor of endurance exercise performance in a range of sports, including running, cycling, swimming, triathlon, and for instance, Ironman. Second, this is highly trainable if you push yourself close to the lactic threshold. In this video, we'll figure out at what level you should be at. Now take option number two, high intensity interval training, if you're like me and want to improve your anaerobic capabilities. This means I'm pushing over 90% VO2 max or above 90% heart rate. I'm doing this because I'm competing in the Nordic Championships in calisthenics, strength and endurance, which is really intense. So by now you have either picked hill sprints for lactic threshold training or hill sprints for high intensity interval training. Whether or not which choice you picked on hill sprints, you have to know what's your VO2 max and what is your max heart rate. So first of all, if you have a smartwatch, this is really easy to track. If you don't, you can use a few rules of thumbs. So first of all, if you have a smartwatch, you can calculate your VO2 max, or you can do it like I did, which was essentially putting on the smartwatch and running as fast as I can, like 10 times. And then I saw, okay, that's my maximum heart rate. And then depending on which level you are at and whether or not you want to focus on lactic threshold training or high intensity interval training, you then pick one of these 1 to 5 zones. So if you're an untrained individual, then you should focus on 50 to 60% of VO2 max or 55% to 80% of maximum heart rate. And if you're a well-trained athlete, then you should focus on 75% to 85% VO2 max or 80 to 90% maximum heart rate. Now, if you focus on high intensity interval training or you're an elite athlete, then focus on VO2 max above 90% or 90 to 95% maximum heart rate. And if you don't have a smartwatch, you can use this Borg chart. We talked about rate of perceived exertion in previous videos when we think about calisthenics training, which means that it's subjective how hard does the training session feel like. So the lower the number is, the easier of course it gets. And of course, the higher the number gets, the tougher the workouts get. So depending on your goal, focus on an RPE between 6 to 20, but it's likely that you will be somewhere between 10 to 15. If you have a smartwatch, it will give you estimates on what your VO2 max is. So this is really nice to see your progress. You can see here for me, every time I compete, I push myself to the limits. Also, you can check how well you recovered by checking your heart rate variability and your resting heart rate. For me now, you can see I'm not that well recovered, so I will take it easy a few days before I head to the Nordic Championships. Anyways, we're going to be doing 10 laps of about 1 minute sprints up to the hilltop. So when I sprint up, pad rests, my homeboy behind the camera lens. Say hi to the camera.
Hello.
So I do 1 minute of running, he rests for 1 minute. Then when I come down, I rest, he goes running. Anyways, without further ado, let's go. Let's hit it. You ready?
Yeah, let's go. I'm ready.
Okay, so we're here at Vitresk in Finland, one of my favorite childhood spots where I grew up. First round, who starts out?
You'll start and I'll follow after you.
All right, so I'll go first. Let's do it. Now, of course, you might be thinking, what is VO2 max? And that's basically your maximum rate of oxygen consumption attainable during physical exertion. And here we're really pushing it to the max. And lactic threshold is basically when your lactate builds up in the bloodstream faster than your body can remove it. So when you do lactic threshold training, you go hard, but not as hard as in high intensity interval training. And the pro of doing high intensity interval training is that the workouts are really short. And this is great if you also work long hours, but still want to stay extremely fit. Then you can reap the rewards of anaerobic training in a short amount of time. Now, a small hint is that most of your training shouldn't be necessarily this intense. When we think about training cardio, you want to be at around 60% of your maximum heart rate because this builds up a really nice aerobic base. Then you can do running every day. Now, instead of doing high intensity interval training, Focus most of your efforts in strength training, for instance calisthenics, where you go reps close to failure, which means that it's not as intense as high intensity interval training. We discussed this in other videos in this channel, link at the end of this one. Then I also consider walking as an exercise. It's one of my secret weapons to staying in shape. A video on that at the end of this one. Now from a health standpoint, why would you do VO2 max training? What's the fuss and all the hype about? Well, for instance, studies show that it can decrease your chance of, for instance, having a heart attack, decreasing your chance of all-cause mortality so that you would die for any reason. It can also decrease your Alzheimer risk and even improve your brain health by the release of something known as a BDNF protein. Now, of course, the good news is that you can raise your VO2 max now and keep it up. This will improve your chances of avoiding these issues later. And the key point is again that your lactic threshold is highly trainable. Okay, final lap. We got it.
We did it.
Yes. Yeah, that's how you pump up your heart rate, get the benefits of anaerobic and aerobic training. Hope you found this enjoyable. I didn't. Try it yourself. Thanks for watching. Smash the like button. I'll see you in the next video.
Boom.